Take a bath. That's reportedly the unfiltered, jaw-dropping advice Meghan Markle got straight from Balenciaga. Yes, that Balenciaga. Apparently things got so bad that even the brand's inner circle couldn't keep quiet anymore. Rumors were swirling for weeks, whispered behind closed doors, until finally, someone had to say it. According to multiple sources close to the situation, Meghan's body odor became an actual issue. Staff members couldn't ignore it any longer. It wasn't just awkward, it was embarrassing, and even her closest aides couldn't sugarcoat it anymore. Insiders claim Meghan's personal hygiene habits, well, let's just say they're not exactly what her polished, royal-like public image would make you believe. On camera, she's all elegance, grace, and glowing perfection. Off camera, those same insiders say it's a completely different story. Apparently, Meghan sticks to a very minimal bathing routine, just once a day, and that's only if it fits into her schedule. For most people, that might sound fine. But in the world of high fashion, where image is everything and one bad impression can kill a deal, this was a huge shock for the brand she was collaborating with. And we're talking about Balenciaga here, the fashion powerhouse that thrives on perfection, precision, and a zero-tolerance policy for anything that could tarnish their image. So when repeated complaints came in from staff, from stylists, even from collaborators, Balenciaga decided enough was enough. Their message to Meghan? Short, blunt, brutally honest. Professional hygiene isn't optional, not even for a former royal trying to conquer the fashion world. Behind the glamour, a different Meghan. What makes this revelation so explosive is the contrast between Meghan's flawless public persona and the messy reality insiders describe. On screen, she's effortlessly glamorous, but behind the scenes, according to those who've worked with her, the vibe is far from pristine. And that difference, between the Meghan the world sees and the one her inner circle knows, has caused friction with brands who expect nothing less than total professionalism. Balenciaga's world operates like clockwork. Every detail matters, and when someone, even someone as famous as Meghan Markle, doesn't meet that level of polish, it sends shockwaves through the team. Industry insiders describe this as a turning point in Meghan's fashion journey. Her image may be one of perfection, but fashion houses like Balenciaga live in a universe where even the tiniest flaw can set off chaos. And Meghan, according to people close to the matter, was completely caught off guard by Balenciaga's direct approach. She apparently thought her daily routine was good enough. But in Balenciaga's world, good enough doesn't exist. This incident doesn't just stop at hygiene, it ties into a much bigger story about Meghan's ongoing struggle to fit into the rigid, high-pressure spaces of her post-royal career. Her Hollywood ventures, her brand partnerships, her endless PR strategies all exist in a world where every move is dissected and every habit analyzed. So when something as simple as bathing once a day makes headlines, it's not just about hygiene, it's about the brutal expectations that come with global fame. The Balenciaga ultimatum. According to insiders, Balenciaga's team tried to handle it delicately at first. They dropped hints, gave subtle reminders, tried to smooth it over quietly. But when nothing changed, the tone shifted. The message was suddenly crystal clear. Fix this, or risk your reputation and your relationship with the brand. For Meghan, who's spent years cultivating an image of sophistication and control, this must have been a nightmare. Imagine it, being known for poise and grace, only to have people whispering about your bathing habits in luxury dressing rooms. It's humiliating, and yet it's not entirely surprising, because this fits right into a long-running narrative critics have whispered for years. Meghan's public perfection doesn't always line up with what happens behind closed doors. We've heard about on-set tensions, demanding behavior, high-maintenance standards, and now this incident with Balenciaga adds another layer to that ever-growing portrait of Meghan Markle, the woman forever walking the tightrope between her image and her reality. Balenciaga's reputation on the line. Let's be honest, Balenciaga didn't just do this for Meghan's sake, they did it for themselves. In the fashion world, reputation is everything. One whiff of scandal, literally or figuratively, and the damage can be catastrophic. And when you're working with a figure as controversial as Meghan Markle, who's already under the world's microscope, any personal misstep can become global gossip overnight. So, the brand made its move, not out of cruelty, but out of corporate self-preservation. By addressing the situation head-on, they prevented further chaos, protected their image, and set a clear boundary. Even a former royal must play by the rules. Social media erupts, and oh boy, when this story leaked, it was like throwing gasoline on a gossip fire. The internet exploded. Some people mocked Meghan, others defended her, and millions more couldn't stop dissecting every single detail. It's the perfect storm of luxury, scandal, and celebrity. A royal name, a powerhouse brand, and a painfully human flaw. It's irresistible. It reads like a cautionary tale about fame, image, and how far the gap between perception and reality can stretch before it snaps. Meghan, despite her best efforts to project control, has once again been pulled into the whirlwind of public fascination, and that fascination isn't going anywhere. And for Meghan, who's spent years trying to reshape her narrative, this revelation hits hard, because once again, she's the headline. Once again, the illusion cracks, and once again, the world sees that behind the royal glamour is a woman just as human and flawed as the rest of us. But oh honey, the drama didn't end with Balenciaga's blunt advice, not even close, because what happened next sent shockwaves through Fashion Week itself. Whispers turned into side glances turned into distance, and that's when the insiders started talking. Word is, some models flat out refused to go near Meghan Markle during fittings and rehearsals. This wasn't your usual backstage snubbing. This was intentional avoidance. Models who usually glide through crowded rooms suddenly became experts at strategic spacing. They were calculating safe angles, keeping their distance, and even avoiding shared dressing rooms. For people who make a living working shoulder to shoulder, that says everything. The whispers grow louder. It started with soft murmurs. Something's off. But by day 3 of Fashion Week, everyone could feel it. Stylists, makeup artists, and photographers were all exchanging the same uneasy looks. Several models, insiders claimed, couldn't even hide their reactions anymore. They'd subtly cover their noses, step back mid-conversation, pretend to adjust their outfits just to move away, and none of it was staged. These were genuine, involuntary reactions from seasoned professionals who are usually masters of composure. The tension backstage was palpable, thick enough to cut through the scent of designer perfume. A crisis Balenciaga couldn't ignore. Balenciaga, a brand famous for control and precision, suddenly found itself scrambling to contain a situation that threatened to become a full-blown disaster. Stylists whispered about it behind garment racks. Assistants tried to keep things calm. Coordinators juggled last-minute adjustments just to keep everyone from talking. And Meghan? Apparently she had no idea just how uncomfortable everyone was. Insiders say she remained calm, oblivious, even cheerful, completely unaware of the silent storm building around her. This wasn't just a hygiene issue anymore. This was a brand image crisis unfolding in real time. The silent revolt, one source described what happened as a silent revolt. No shouting, no confrontation, just the unmistakable language of body movement. People inching away, avoiding eye contact, exchanging knowing glances. Everyone was trying to stay polite. After all, it's Meghan Markle, former royal, humanitarian global brand. But no amount of etiquette could erase the discomfort hanging in the air. You could feel it, one insider said. The whispers, the hesitation. People were stepping back without even realizing it. It became this unspoken thing that no one could manage anymore. For Balenciaga, that silence was louder than any headline. When a luxury house steps in now, here's the thing. Balenciaga doesn't act on rumors. They're too powerful, too precise, too protective of their image. So, for them to escalate the matter from polite hints to direct confrontation, that means it was serious. This wasn't about a minor slip-up or personal preference. It was about professional standards, the kind that define the luxury fashion world. For Balenciaga, every stitch, every scent, every detail is part of their identity, and anything that threatens that, even a whisper of discomfort among models, becomes a crisis to fix immediately. Meghan under the magnifying glass. And then there's Meghan herself, the woman at the center of it all. She's not just another celebrity client, she's a former royal. Her name alone carries weight, expectation, and endless media attention. That's what makes this entire episode so shocking, because when the models started pulling away, there was no way to spin it. No PR statement could hide the awkward reality. The photos, the videos, the backstage chatter, all told the same story. All told the carefully crafted image of Meghan Markle, graceful, glamorous, untouchable, had collided head-on with the unfiltered reality of the fashion world. The models break their composure. In fashion, models are trained to handle anything. Tight deadlines, sudden changes, demanding designers. But this time, they just couldn't mask it. The discomfort was written all over their faces. One model reportedly froze mid-fitting. Another quietly asked to be reassigned. Whispers spread fast. Is this really happening? Someone has to say something. And the more the tension built, the clearer it became that this was no ordinary backstage drama. It was a domino effect. One person steps back, then another, until the entire atmosphere shifts. Even photographers noticed. They said you could see a visible gap whenever Meghan entered the room. People naturally drifted away, instinctively creating space. Balenciaga's damage control. Balenciaga's leadership moved quickly. They started rearranging dressing rooms, altering call times, separating Meghan from crowded environments. The brand's crisis team quietly stepped in, making sure there were no public scenes, no awkward run-ins, no viral photos of someone holding their breath next to her. They even reinforced a reminder reminder to everyone, privately, about professional hygiene standards. It wasn't targeted directly at Meghan, but everyone knew who it was about. Even a former royal, it seemed, wasn't immune from corporate diplomacy. Hollywood and fashion collide. This entire fiasco added fresh fuel to a conversation that's been following Meghan for years. The question of how well she fits into Hollywood and high fashion's relentless pace. People in those circles have long whispered about her demanding ways, the diva rumors, the behind-the-scenes friction. Now they had something new to talk about, something tangible. Fashion insiders were stunned, gossip columnists were ecstatic, and social media, it went wild. Clips started circulating, models subtly backing away, stylists exchanging nervous glances, whispers caught on background audio. The internet pieced it together like a digital crime scene. Fans defended her, critics mocked her, and everyone, absolutely everyone, had an opinion. When optics turned toxic. The optics were brutal, professionals quietly distancing themselves, Balenciaga issuing gentle reminders, and Meghan, caught in the middle, smiling for cameras while whispers grew louder behind her back. It became one of the most viral Meghan Markle stories in months, maybe years. The story wasn't just about one awkward week in fashion. It was about the dangerous space between public image and private reality. In Meghan's world, everything is curated. Every photo, every outfit, every pose. But in that backstage chaos, all the PR polish in the world couldn't hide the discomfort written across the room. The price of perfection. This incident peeled back the glossy surface of celebrity branding. For years, Meghan's maintained this image of sophistication and total control, but Fashion Week exposed something raw, that even the most glamorous personas can falter under real-world scrutiny. In Balenciaga's environment, where flawless isn't a goal but a rule, one personal lapse becomes a liability. It's not just about smell or rumor, it's about credibility. When perception is currency, anything that chips away at it becomes a financial, social, and professional threat. A human moment in a high-pressure world. But beyond all the gossip and scandal, there's something deeply human about this. Because let's be honest, everyone's had a bad day. Everyone's made mistakes. The difference is that when Meghan Markle makes one, the entire world knows. And that's the cruel irony of fame. You can spend years building an image and lose it in a single headline.